Hi, everybody. It is Monday, and President Trump finds himself playing defense.
I'm not a racist. I am the least racist person you have ever interviewed. That I can tell you.
Commander-in-Chief on the firestorm over those comments he allegedly made about African countries and Haiti. But on this Martin Luther King holiday, the backlash seems to be growing.
As you can see from the rundown over there on the side of the screen, this is the hottest story tonight at 6:30, so let's get to it. Family, federal officials, and others gathered today at the Martin Luther King Jr. National Memorial to lay a wreath at the foot of the monument to the slain civil rights leader. Now, the King holiday comes days after President Trump called African nations S-hole countries and made offensive comments about immigrants from Haiti and El Salvador, even though he denies it. The president spent the weekend defending himself against accusations of racism. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer blasted the president today.
We are telling Donald Trump and all the bigots of this country, we will not wait for justice.
This is just the start of what will be another busy week ahead for the White House.
Yeah, let's bring in our panelists tonight. We have social and civil rights advocate Bren Herrera, Republican strategist Spencer Sullivan, and Democratic strategist Michael Wilson, who is on Skype tonight. Good to see you all tonight.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Let's start with you, Michael. Your takeaway from the last couple of days. The president has strenuously said he is not a racist. Obviously, a lot of talk about these comments. What's your takeaway?
Okay. Well, first of all, happy Martin Luther King Day, I would like to say.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I've always called President Trump an equal opportunity discriminator. I personally, I'm a liberal, peace-loving liberal. I don't think he's racist. I think, you know, you've seen the historical Trump through the campaigns, the elections, consistently, you know, name call, and that's part of his game. And I think what he called the countries, I think what he was referring to, had he been more informed, that these countries, and I see his point, look, these countries for a long time have taken loans out from IMF, World Bank, and have not built an infrastructure. And so that's an issue right there for immigration. You know, you go to Haiti itself, Duvalier, completely corrupt family that ruled the country for many, many years, up until the mid-'80s, and they still haven't recovered from it.
But I think that the issue here is the fact we're talking about the people and not necessarily, I mean, you can call the countries assholes, but when you refer to the people, they don't have any control over that. These are people who are looking for a better life, I think many would argue. So I think it's easy to conflate the people versus the place.
Right. So if you're going to put it on the people and the color of the skin, well, obviously Africa, Latin America, and Haiti are people of color, and traditionally Norway is not. But Norway itself has a large Muslim population. So I don't know exactly what Trump was referring to. I mean, my family is from Scandinavia. I often go there, and, you know, I don't know which Norwegians he was talking about, the Muslim ones, the Anders Breivik Norwegians, or the Norwegians who are very intaking and caring and giving.
Hey, Spencer, let me let you jump in there. Let me ask you, did the president do a good job of defending himself?
Look, let's take a step back for a second. This is all hearsay. We have a senator here, Dick Durbin, who came out of a meeting who at hearsay best, who has a representation, who has a history of lying, or at the very least misrepresenting meetings, even back to 2013 with President Obama, where his then press secretary, Jake Carney, had to say what Dick Durbin said at this meeting never happened. So in the court of justice or in a courtroom, you have hearsay with a witness that's not credible. So this would be a laugh out of any type of courtroom.
The White House didn't deny it when this first came out. It just said, yeah, the president sometimes uses this kind of colorful language. It didn't deny it.
Yeah, I mean, the president absolutely uses strong language, but what I'm saying is that this hearsay argument, we have senators on the right-hand side and the Republican side saying, I was in this room, and I never heard or could never even understood or even heard what President Trump said or didn't say.
Bren, you want to jump into this?
Yeah, well, let me, well, first of all, happy Martin Luther King Day. I think it's really unfortunate that on the weekend where we're celebrating the United States and possibly the world's biggest champion for civil rights, that we have a president down the street here in Washington who on Friday signed this proclamation, and yet we don't have an apology from the White House. We don't have an acknowledgement. He went on Twitter this morning, in essence, mocking Senator Dick Durbin, calling him Dickie,
right.
And instead of being here in the nation's capital as past presidents have done celebrating and honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King, he's down playing golf. I think this is now his 92nd visit at his golf course while he's been in the office. I think that it's inexcusable. I think it's unacceptable. And for him to deflect and blame now the Democrats for not wanting to pass DACA, I think it's chummy on his part, if I could use that word. But it's really unfortunate that we are not holding him accountable. And look, I will come out here and say it. I'm a registered independent. Trump is a racist.
Look, we can paint a picture at Trump at the golf course, but as you saw through your own B-roll here, Pastor Darrell Scott came out today and said that Trump is not a racist. Trump is far from it. And Trump cares about the economy and
There's
unemployment.
a lot of people who can say things, Spencer, but in reality, if we look at Donald Trump's history from the day that he announced his candidacy and said he was going to run, he attacked Mexican immigrants. He's got the Muslim ban. He talked about my African American there in the audience. So you can say he's just talking, but words mean more.
Words do mean more. You're absolutely right. And Trump is not a politician. Trump is an outsider. But I would also offer a different picture here, which is, as Democrats want to pursue this narrative, as Democrats want to do this, cry wolf.
I'm so sorry. This is Donald Trump's narrative. This is very much his narrative. This is what he
and elections
stands
do matter,
for
and this is why voters in New York
again.
City, voters in D.C., and voters in L.A. have votes, but also voters in the Midwest have votes as well. And voters in the Midwest and the middle of this country feel alienated by the Democratic Party, as Democrats have said themselves.
Michael, you want to respond?
To add to your point there, let me say, to add to your point there, Chelsea Handler came out the other day and basically, criticized Lindsey Graham for being in the meeting with Trump when he allegedly made those comments, which to me, for Chelsea Handler, who's no more of a political activist now, should not have done that. Because it goes back to the liberal elitism. Lindsey Graham has been very critical of the far right, of the Tea Party.
But if we stop it for a minute, I'm not sure what Chelsea Handler really has to do with the argument. These are about the comments that the President of the United States allegedly made about African nations, Haiti and El Salvador. And I think that's the issue on this day where we're talking about, where we're celebrating. Hold on just a minute. Where we're celebrating a man who fought for civil rights, for people, for their race, their religion, and for their gender. And I think that is the issue that we're talking about tonight. I think we need to stop glossing over it, and we need to stop normalizing this behavior.
And I think there's the danger in that, right, where we completely gloss over, ignore the fact that the President of the United States, on MLK to be exact, is not here in Washington celebrating, honoring it, and in fact, or instead rather, is down in Florida playing golf. It underscores the incendiary comments that he's been making long before he was even running for president. We have the Central 5 issue. We have the statement about Mexicans, and now, the contributions that Haitians and El Salvadorians, I've got 4 nephews and nieces here in the D.C. area that are very much contributing to the well-being of this country. I don't know what the statistics are of what the Norwegians, and I have Norwegian friends, but I don't know what the statistics are to the Norwegian contribution to the United States. But either way, we cannot afford to gloss over these comments from the leader of the first world, where we have a problem where...
Bren,
I think he was referring to Norway, too, as being one of the richest countries in the world.
I think when we look at this, the whole grand... Hey, hang on one second. I know we got a conversation here, but we have to...
That's what he said. Yes, I'm speaking to...
Hang on one second here, because we only have about 30 seconds here. I just want to talk to Spencer one quick second here, because I think what this speaks to is this is another, whether it happened or not, whether the comment was made explicitly as it was or not, it's another misstep in when you talk about the president says we're not talking about accomplishments. You can argue whether or not he's actually accomplishing things that benefit the American people or not. That's a story for another day. But I feel like, Spencer, this is another situation where there's some progress, they're moving in some direction, and the president says something or is alleged to have said something or done something, and that blows everything up.
No, absolutely right. And I point to speak to Sean's point, like, we shouldn't normalize certain behaviors, right? But there's certain facts that we can't just gloss over, that we can't just not talk about, including unemployment at an all-time low. African American unemployment at an all-time low.
Which is going down under the Obama administration.
I'm so sorry that I don't have the actual quote, but in 1982, Lee Atwater was documented in a very long incendiary recording where he pretty much excused Republicans for being racist without necessarily being called out. That is the very danger that we're running up against when we don't hold the president accountable for making the incendiary, very very derogatory and very racist comments. It's unacceptable, inexcusable, and for the Republican Party to make excuses and not come out and for the sake of the party, rather, right? For them not to come out and hold them accountable is a problem for the GOP.
Hold on, Bren. You know what? We've jumped way over. Michael, we're going to let you get a quick comment, and then Spencer, you get a quick comment, and then we got to go.
Sure.
Okay, real quick. I think the White House should do issue a statement about a denial to clarify everything, what the remarks were. But also, I think you have to realize is President Trump is a reality star. He's not a traditional president, so you can't ask him to go and put in a day of service on Martin Luther King Day. I didn't expect that. I don't think a lot of people expected that. I think people expected him to go.
No, I expect the president to be here representing the country on MLK
Spencer,
Day.
you get the last word.
Look, I think facts matter. You look at the economy, you look at unemployment. All that stuff speaks to the president and speaks to the results, and we'll see in the midterms.
All right.
There we go. You guys, thanks for joining
Happy
us.
MLK
Very
Day.
Spirited
Absolutely.
conversation, which we could continue. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
All right, we are 4 days away from the federal government shutting down, and neither Democrats or Republicans can say for sure it'll happen. Imagine that. Republicans and Democrats can't agree on something.
Really?
Go figure.
Yeah. The money allocated to fund the government expires the end of this week. The issue that is holding this up is an immigration deal, and the controversy, of course, surrounding the president's comments on immigration have complicated things. Tom Fitzgerald is live tonight with the very latest on this one. Hey, Fitz.
Hey, good evening. The situation is this. Time is running out. Midnight Friday, January 19th, is when this government is going to run out of money and shut down. As we stand here right now, there is no indication they will be able to head this off at the pass as it stands right now. Now, the president spent most of his time today in Florida. Late last night, a dinner with House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the president saying it is Democrats who are not willing to deal.
I think we have a lot of sticking points, but they're all Democrat sticking points, because we are ready, willing, and able to make a deal, but they don't want to. They don't want security at the border. We have people pouring in. They don't want security at the border. They don't want to stop drugs. And they want to take money away from our military, which we cannot do. So those are some of the sticking points.
These continuing resolutions have gotten pretty political over the last couple of years. This year, though, it's taken a whole nother turn with this immigration debate being put on top, especially after the president's reported comments last week. The Democrats want DACA extended. It's due to run out in March. Republicans say if they go along with a DACA deal, they want money for a border wall. They also want money for increased border security. Right now, it appears dire. There is no deal on the table. However, Senator Dick Durbin says he is hopeful Republicans are going to come up with something to head this off at the pass.
If they will help us reach a bipartisan compromise to protect those who were protected by DACA and to give those who were eligible to sign and dreamers a chance, it is clear evidence to me that they're moving in the right direction.
However, right now that direction shows no sign of being resolved. Jim and Sean, already political overtones on this are starting to frame this debate in such a way from the Republican standpoint that if the government does shut down on Friday, Republicans are going to be saying that it's the Democrats who caused it, and they did it to stop Republican efforts to crack down on illegal immigration.
So there are different narratives out there. Everybody's going to play their own card, and we'll see what sticks in the long run. Fitz, here we are again.
Yes, it is. The third time. Thank you, Fitz. By now, you've probably heard the details, the terrifying details. The Federal Communications Commission has now opened an investigation into that false alarm about an incoming missile strike. Hawaiian officials say an employee has been reassigned after mistakenly hitting the live alert button. Hawaii residents got the shock of their lives Saturday when an alert went out to cell phones and was broadcast on radio and TV, warning about an imminent missile attack.
So apparently the worker responsible for the snafu has received death threats after the incident, and the federal government stepping in to fix Hawaii's emergency alert system. But if I'm trying to delete an email, Sean, I have to go through hoop after hoop after hoop to say, are you sure? Yes. Are you? How is this possible?
That you just hit a button and boom, it goes out like that. You would think that there would be more layers or levels here.
By the way, this is an election year in Hawaii for governor. The Democratic governor is being primaried by another Democrat. This is going to be a huge issue already in Hawaii this year. It's going to, of course, everything gets political. But in this case, you got to hold people accountable.
Absolutely, you do. Sue, we will not hold you accountable for the weather because we know you just tell us what it's like out there and you don't actually control it.
Oh, thanks for that, Sean. I appreciate that. I might need some cover in the days ahead because we have another round of light snow that we're expecting. The timing for this one, though, is tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, and some winter weather advisories have been issued out ahead of it. They begin at 4 o'clock tomorrow and will take us through the morning hours on Wednesday. And you can see the advisories are north and west. That includes Frederick County, Washington County, over to Allegheny and Garrett and the Panhandle of West Virginia. Nothing issued for D.C. right now, and we're thinking a couple inches to maybe 4 inches in the advisory. But here in the D.C. area, maybe it's a ½ inch to an inch or 2. We still have to kind of get that nailed down, not getting a lot of agreement. Either way, though, we think the effect will be moderate, and it will mostly be for Wednesday morning. And there could be some delays, maybe a few cancellations only in the advisory area, but we'll keep track of it and have updates on our later newscasts. Back to Jim and Sean.
I feel better about that. Thank you, Sue. As we head to break, I want to take a look at the MLK Memorial in the district. It is a gorgeous edifice. I saw it for the first time just a couple of years ago when I moved down here. One of the first things I checked out. Impressive, very busy down there today. We're back after this.